Hi there, my name's TrueNav, and welcome back to another review in 10 minutes or less. Maybe 15, I'm still undecided. This time, I'll be covering A Plague Tale: Innocence, and as always, I'll try to keep the spoilers to a minimum. But in case any get away from me, you've been warned. Now, on to the review. A Plague Tale: Innocence is a game set in France in the late 14th century, and as the title implies, a major theme of the game is the spread of the plague. As such, in a way, the game and its story could be seen as a bit of a period piece. However, the setting is the foundation for a much more riveting and stylized tale than any mere historic recreation could accomplish. In the game, you play as Amicia, the young and headstrong daughter of a local nobleman. After calamity strikes, thanks in no small part to the plague but mostly owed to the Inquisition, she is forced to flee the chateau she once called her home with her younger brother Hugo. These two characters are the bread and butter of the game. They're the driving force behind the narrative, and the events of the game are central to them. Together, they are forced to traverse the land, fleeing from their hunters and hiding from the millions of rats that are spreading the disease. All so Amicia can find a cure to a mysterious illness that plagues Hugo. No pun intended. Therein lies the goal of the game. Along the way, they meet several friends and foes, and uncover the hidden truths and mysteries revolving around both the plague and the reason why the Inquisition is taking place. Those truths and mysteries are what turn A Plague Tale's period piece narrative into a more fantastical and supernatural adventure of sorts. Gameplay-wise, A Plague Tale is strictly a stealth-focused, linear adventure with beautifully detailed and lush areas that hide collectibles and materials to engage in the crafting mechanics the game offers. Those things, coupled with all the conversations and interactions sprinkled throughout each area, make the game feel alive and makes the player become more invested with the characters as time goes on. In a way, the style of gameplay can be compared to The Last of Us, but unlike that game where you could occasionally risk your life and go about dispatching enemies in a loud and combat-focused way, in A Plague Tale, stealth is your only recourse. If you deviate from it, you die. Now, that's in no way a bad thing, and Amicia's weapon of choice, her trusty slingshot, is both an extremely fun, yet also handily unique weapon which makes stealthing seem a lot more fun. In other words, if you like the stealth genre, this game is for you. And who would I be if I didn't mention the music as well? The soundtrack is composed of a deep and harrowing cello, which is simply delightful to hear, and adds a lot more depth to the already vibrant 14th century landscape. All that is well and good, sure, but now is where I have to point out a few of the gripes I had with the game. While I loved A Plague Tale and I could honestly sing its praises without much doubt, there are also a few things that didn't quite sit right with me. If you've seen my former reviews, you'll know that I never speak ill of games. I'm not a critic, I'm reviewing them, and despite having a policy of focusing on what I enjoyed, there are times when I have to put my foot down and set things straight. This is one of those times. The things I have to say up next are not related to the gameplay, but instead the story. And it's not so much about what was told as how it was told that left me feeling uneasy. My main concerns had to do with what the story set out to accomplish and how it got there. While the story was great and at moments heartfelt even, it somewhat fell to a lackluster connection. What do I mean by that? Well, simple. What I mean by that is that everything was connected like the pieces of a puzzle, working together to form a neat picture, but in the end, all the build-up seemed to end at that. Build-up. It felt like there should have been more to tell, or a greater sense of consequence for all that happened. Because as it stands, everything in the story seems to have just passed. Just because. And even with the ending being what it was, and most, if not all, questions having been answered, it still felt like it was missing something. A Plague Tale ended on a note that could imply a sequel in the future, but at the same time it ended so neatly that a follow-up is hard to envision. What I'm trying to say is that by the end I played a great game, but it lacked a certain punch that I feel should have been there. I still had some questions that I didn't get answered, and considering how straightforward the game was, it didn't rub me the right way. Those are just my thoughts and opinions on the game anyway. If you feel differently, or if you agreed, please leave a comment. I'd love to hear your thoughts. Finally, I hope I was able to convince you to play A Plague Tale: Innocence. It's a really nice game with some sound mechanics and a really good story. And if you don't feel like playing but instead of watching, I've got you covered. I did a full Let's Play of it, so check that out if you prefer. And so, we've reached the end of the review. If you liked it, leave a like, share it, and subscribe. It really helps a small channel like mine out. Also, hit that bell button for those sweet, sweet notifications. They help both you and me. But as always, I'm the only me, so you be the only you. See you in the next review.